confession time. It really annoys me when somebody's profile picture on social media is not them and it's their kid. Yeah, that really annoys me. Listen, I know you cherish your kids. I get it, and you should. And if you want to be in the photo with your kid, by all means do it. But making your profile picture not you, it really just upsets me. So stop doing it! All right, so one of the things I didn't really answer in my last episode was how I got to Nebraska. Ross, nobody cares!
I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you anyway. So, you know what? Stop listening if you don't want to hear it. But the story is going to require us to go back to 2016. All right, so I decided in 2016 to jump out of retail. I had been in retail since 1999, and I had just had it! I was just done. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I was losing years off my life, and it was like, okay, I need something else. So, as you all know from my previous podcast, I wound up working for a company that delivered for Amazon. And I started off as a driver, walking into a world I knew nothing about except for the fact that I'm driving a truck around delivering packages to people's doors. And I loved it. I swear. It was, instead of managing 300 employees, I was just managing 300 boxes on a van. It was beautiful. There were some hot days and some cold days, and it really worked my muscles. Hopping in and out of a cargo van 300 times a day really worked things that I didn't know existed. And, but I got to be honest, I really liked it. There was a sense of accomplishment. It was like I finished my route every day, and I am proud to say, as a side note, I never got rescued. A rescue is when a driver is behind or something happened and they're not able to finish their route, so the dispatchers have to call a driver who has already finished up and send them your way to rescue you, to take, a bunch of packages off that van and help you finish your route. Well, I was the guy who rescued, but never the guy who was rescued. So, I was proud of that. Anyway, it was things like that and my positive attitude, my absolute love for the job, because it wasn't retail, that got me promoted. Now, you all know that I wound up becoming the manager of the entire operation, but what you may not know is that I got promoted again, in January of 2019. It was official. They had tested me back in October of 2018 when we launched a brand new station in Rochester, New York, and they chose me to go in there and start it up, hiring the employees, all the dispatchers, hiring and training the manager, and then I stepped away and watched it be successful. Anyway, it was because of that they promoted me to this regional manager position that I got, where I got to oversee multiple locations. Very, very, very exciting. So, when it came time for the promotion, there were another couple of people who also got that same promotion that I did. And they were trying to figure out what areas of the country were actually true regions. And I got the call, said, okay, Ross, we're going to have you manage the 2 stations in Chicago and the station in Minnesota. Now, this is where it gets fun. Now, you all know that around the same time that Rochester, New York comes around, the love of my life, Miss Laura, is now my girlfriend. Woohoo! Again. And she's living in Nebraska. Okay, so, how do I figure out how to... If I'm living in New York, overseeing Chicago and Minnesota, how in the world am I going to get to Nebraska? So, I know that we also have a station in Denver, Colorado. So I call up my boss and I say, hey, listen, is there any chance that instead of Minnesota, I could oversee the operation in Denver. And he goes, Ross, that doesn't make any sense. Like, Chicago and Denver are not a region, and that leaves Minnesota all by itself. And I said, yeah, but, I'm going to have to take a flight either way, right? Whether I'm managing Minnesota or whether I'm managing, Denver, I'm still going to have to book a flight, okay? And whoever takes Minnesota instead is going to have to book a flight. So let's say the guy who's managing, Denver lives in California, which he did. He'd have to book a flight to Denver, right? So why not just make it Minnesota? He still has to book a flight, and it's about the same time. So can I just manage Chicago and Denver? And he goes, Ross, again, that just doesn't make any sense. And I said, so Denver then? Goes, all right, fine, Chicago and Denver. That is honestly how it happened. It was fantastic, right? So once that was decided, I then had to make a decision, quote unquote, on where I was going to move. Obviously, I can't stay in New York. I had to move to one of the stations that I was managing. So I could have moved to Lisle, Illinois. I could have moved to downtown Chicago. But of course, the obvious choice was to move to Denver because that was the closest location to Laura, who was in Nebraska. So on Valentine's Day of 2019, I was officially a resident of Denver, Colorado, which enabled me to drive up to Laura's house as frequently as I saw fit. We started off with, every other weekend, and then it became every weekend, and then COVID broke, and I pretty much stayed up at her house for, forever. What an amazing series of actions that led to that. From the decision to leave retail, to becoming an Amazon driver, to going through all the promotions, to moving across the country. It was meant to be, folks. It was meant to be. Now, you guys know from my last podcast that eventually this dream kind of ended in terms of my career because Amazon yanked our contract, okay? Now, that left me kind of dangling in the wind here because I don't have a job and I'm still living in Denver, but also presented a unique opportunity to actually move to Nebraska. Now that I'm not connected to Denver in any way, I can actually move into Nebraska, right? So there we go, looking for work again. And that's where I ran into some trouble. Guess what you can't find in Nebraska? Work! But, things have a tendency to work out, and they did. And I have been a resident of Nebraska for a little while now, and I couldn't be happier because I'm right where I need to be with Laura Leander. So, to answer the question, why did I move to Nebraska? Why am I doing this?
Why are you doing this?
For a woman? A woman? What, are you out of your mind?
Why can't you do anything like a normal